For the statement, I now give the floor to the representative of Sri Lanka.
President, may I congratulate Ecuador on assuming the presidency for the month of December. Regrettably, Madam President, this month of joy and cheer is weighed down by unprecedented human suffering. There will be an end to that suffering sooner or later. But transnational organized crime is one activity that will hang over our heads for generations to come if we do not wake up to the reality of what it does to our global community slowly but surely. Madam President, it is said that it is about time that global law enforcement got as organized crime. Transnational organized crime, as we know, are those crimes referred to those self-perpetuating associations of individuals who operate transnationally for the purposes of nothing but obtaining power, influence, monetary or commercial gains, wholly or partly by illegal means, while protecting their activities through a pattern of corruption or violence, or while protecting their illegal activities through transnational organizational structures and the exploitation of transnational commerce or communication mechanisms. There is no single structure under which transnational organized crime operates. They vary from hierarchies to clans to networks and cells and may evolve to other structures. Madam President, transnational organized crime, it will shock you if I was to say, is estimated to generate hundreds of billions of dollars, perhaps close upon $1 trillion or even more a year, overriding by several times the amount of official development assistance and close to an estimate of 10% of the world's export of merchandise. Transnational crime, Madam President, is said, is a free enterprise at its freest. Every year, countless lives are lost as a result of organized crime, drug-related health problems and violence, firearm deaths, and the unscrupulous methods and motives of human traffickers and migrant smugglers are all part of this. Transnational organized crime is not stagnant, Madam President, but it is an ever-changing industry, adaptive to markets and creating new forms of crime. In short, it is an illicit business that transcends cultural, social, linguistic, and geographical boundaries, and one that knows no borders or rules. There are many activities, Madam President, that can be characterized as transnational organized crime, including drug trafficking, smuggling of migrants, human trafficking, money laundering, trafficking in firearms, counterfeiting goods, wildlife and cultural property, and even some aspects of cybercrime. So transnational crime poses to us several problems. One such problem is its global outreach. It reaches out to any part of the world. Its financial impact, its threat to national security, it's the violence and the intimidation that goes along with it, the exploitation and human rights abuses, the corruption and the infiltration it encourages, and the technological advancements. Transnational organized crime has adapted, we must remember, to advancements in technology. There are 3 steps ahead of us, using the internet and other digital platforms to facilitate their illicit activities. So how do we address these challenges? And that requires international cooperation, strong law enforcement agencies, effective legislation, and targeted efforts to disrupt and dismantle transnational organized crime. Madam President, Sri Lanka has taken several measures to respond to transnational crime, which I will not allude to for the want of time. In conclusion, I say that it is important to note that combating transnational crime is an ongoing challenge, and Sri Lanka continues to adapt its strategies and mechanisms to effectively respond to the evolving nature of organized criminal networks. We must commend the United Nations, which employs various measures to counter transnational organized crime, including international cooperation, conventions, capacity-building initiatives. Efforts involve enhancing legal frameworks, promoting information exchange amongst member states, and supporting law enforcement collaboration. UN agencies such as the UN Office on Drugs and Crime, UNTOC and UNCAC play a vital role in implementing these measures and fostering global partnerships. These legislative measures provide us, Madam President, a legal basis to combat transnational crime, including money laundering, terrorism, financing, torture, and cybercrime. They enable law enforcement agencies, I say, to investigate and prosecute individuals involved in such criminal activities, as well as facilitate international cooperation in addressing transnational crime. Madam President, we have to remember that transnational organized crime does not recognize borders, and no member state is free from its crippling influence. I thank you.
Agradezco al representante.
I thank the representative of Sri Lanka for their statement. There are